Alright, welcome back. We're fresh off our Uber Tristram kill. And next step in our head for milestones is taking down Diablo Clone. So only way we were conceivably going to do that is if we spent some time corrupting some items. And depending on the corruptions, I thought maybe we'd get lucky, catch some extra PDR, maybe some 2 max slams, and might be strong enough to take on Diablo Clone. So in this video we are slamming some of our better tiered gear and just trying to see what we can get. Diablo Clone's a lot harder than Uber Tristram, and you really do have different breakpoints, primarily with PDR. So we get some PDR in the Sage's Conch, that could be really helpful. And we've been lucky, we haven't really bricked much, so a lot of our gear is just overall getting better. But I'm a little nervous to slam the Bul-Kathos and the Stone of Jordan. But there we go, some gold find on that, and a little bit of magic damage reduction, but they lived, so can't complain. Overall though, even with like the 3 sockets and the hex fire, it's not like we've got 3 rainbow facets to throw in there and all of a sudden that item's good. What really killed it for me though is I think with the gear they gave me the defensive stats. I had like 25 or 40 faster cast rate, and there's just absolutely no way Diablo Clone's going down with that. It's too dangerous. So we decided even after the slams, we're just going to go back to mapping. Dark Commander can be such a pain. She does a lot of damage, gotta be a little careful around her. But when we get to the point in the series where I'm showing a new boss, I'm more likely to show the entire fight. And then in loot recap videos, stuff like that, I'll clip a lot more of it. But I do want this channel, if someone has never seen Project Diablo 2, if you watch this channel all the way through, you're going to see the entire game. I'll include every map, boss, all the pinnacle bosses, all the new PD2 content, everything that you can do in the game will be shown on the channel. Found an Andal's Might, pretty good for the mercenary. So plus the skills, and it can apply weaken. Weaken's good. The only reason I didn't put a right on in though is that I don't want the weaken to overwrite the amplified damage. I'm already having enough trouble with the DPS, so didn't want to do that. Brick that. Was hoping just to find some nicer weapons for playthroughs for Nightmare or early Hell mode on the characters that'll be coming up. Meteor's been great overall though. I've never played a season as Meteor Sorceress, especially not for mapping, but they're doing great. There's nothing that the toolkit can't deal with the half fire and half physical. So got a Lemrune, got some chance guards. Nice little ring, some FCR, a bunch of other stats, a bunch of resistances, some gold find. But we were on a quest just to get stronger, so we didn't really know exactly what we needed. We're not necessarily target farming anything, but we're just doing the stuff that our character is getting good at, and she's very good at killing Diablo. These Chaos Sanctuary runs are going quite quickly, and we're still getting a lot out of that. And then we also need to be farming maps though. So we're into the tier 2. We're in Pandemonium, Citadel. These type of maps I like a lot better than like Lost Temple, for example, And I think 90% of that for me is that they're just so much brighter. When you're in those like underground ones, I'm like squinting at the screen and things can appear at my feet that I didn't see. So got a nice little drop here. Could be either Stone Crushers or Schaefer's Hammer. But that's in the Treasure Class 87 list, and it ends up being a Stone Crusher. And with the physical pierce, the Assassin, I've seen Assassins with Blade Sentinel actually use that with maybe a Phoenix Shield. But I'm just showing you guys the progression here too. This is solo Self Found. I am not as strong as you could expect to be. And I'm just trying to be honest about it. Like, this is how long it takes me to kill some of the map bosses, and if you're taking as long or a little bit longer in your playthroughs, at least you've got some sort of scale to base it off of. Yeah, she was like spamming that lightning storm, and I don't know, there's a lot going on there. But we've been finding some pretty good rings, and decided to take some time to re-roll some charms here. And I don't know why, but I really do throw the sapphires away first. But my logic here to spend some time on the grand charms is that I need every class's skiller, and then even if they roll like max AR and life, I need a bunch of those too. So anything that's like a good tier grand charm I can use. But RNG is always RNG, so I'm wasting a ton here, but I do end up with like a small life Shadow skiller. So that's good for the Assassin. He's taking a lot of use of some of what the Sorceress is finding in the maps, so even though he's not doing a ton of killing, he's getting a lot better just as a byproduct. I've been keeping some of those single resistance jewels with another affix on them, so that's what went into Natalia's, just looking to get overall stronger. Didn't want to get too far behind on the Assassin though, so we're going through Act 2 now. She's getting pretty strong. She's got 3 out of 4 Natalias, and 2 skillers I think at this point too, traps and a Shadow, so she's strong enough, doing her thing. The Mercenary went with Act 1 for the Vigor Aura, just for her speed. And we also have the Pus Spitter, so she's got a source of amplified damage with the Pus Spitter crossbow. And we're making pretty quick work of Hell mode, so we're happy with the progression here. Fighting Duriel, and I'm always like pausing a little bit, getting a little nervous. Not sure if this character is really strong enough to do this, that, or the other. That's kind of what happens when you're playing more than one character at one time. You kind of forget the power thresholds. But no surprise, Blade Sentinel's so good, and we just shred Duriel there. That was only times 2 speed. That was, he got cooked. And I'm showing this again for continuity. The Sorceress has this waypoint. I'm not going to call this cheating. My buddy came by, grabbed me the waypoint for Trav. But I didn't want to take his help for killing the Council. And if anything, this makes it a little bit harder for myself. I'm on Players 2 instead of Players 1. But both Blade Sentinel and Meteor are a little bit similar, and I think because of the similarity, they're both good, and they're essentially ranged physical attacks, and that's just one of the better setups in the game. Amplify damage is one of the easier sources to break an immunity to find, and any of the early game builds that just live off of physical damage and amplify damage, you can get a long way. You're gonna need to get like some source to kill some mobs that you just can't break their immunities, but for the most part, you don't need to kill them. You can just carry on. Well, yeah, I mean, this is a nice part of progressing is you get all the experience for doing it, so I got no problems doing it. Level 78 there. And the assassin is going to be the person to kill Diablo Clone. Thought about it for a bit. The sorceress, I've just never done it on a sorceress or for meteor, and I'm very familiar with it on Blade Sentinel, so I'm just going to go with what I'm comfortable with, what I know is going to work out for us, and we'll get that Ani charm before too long on the channel. So just showing all the quests, being careful again on Ruined Temple. Just dangerous place, I feel like, walking in there. But Battlemaid's not too bad. We're still hoping for keys. We're going to need to do the Uber Tristram fight at least enough times for one for each character, and we already know from our RNG so far this series that we're going to be stuck on one for a while. It's just going to be the way it's going to be. But I mean, like, literally cooking hell is Zool, so I'm pretty happy with the power that the assassin's at right now. But still doing the maps on the sorceress. She's just a little bit safer. They're both safe, but with the repositioning and Blaze, repositioning from teleport, I feel like I have to make a lot of mistakes to get out of position, and the Blade Sentinel at sometimes can just kind of get in range too bad and not have a way to get right out. But that's huge. We got a Maul rune from the Hellforge, and we had gotten the Ohm rune like quite a bit ago. So we have all the runes that we need for Call to Arms. This is one of those rune words that you just really hope you only have to make like once and you get a decent one. We get a gold rune as well, so I mean, I'm just catching some motivation in this video. Drops are going good, progression's going good. Really looking forward to just getting into like the real end stage part and being able to provide content that's, you know, PD2 content mostly. Got a Soul Feast, just plugged in some of the lower level drops for the Grail as well. Absolutely cooking Diablo. So since we're not really, you know, having too much of an issue, you know, so I say that, almost got popped by some Claw Vipers there. But the damage was good, safety was good. I figured we would just take this one home, get all the way through Hell mode, and then that would open up the ability for myself to open up Hell Cows instead of having to jump back and forth. And would also open up maps when I get ready and open up some corrupted zones. Just a good place to keep working towards the levels. Switching over to an Act 2 Mercenary, but still wanting a source of amplified damage, and we found that second Reaper's Toll. So Assassin's using all like the hand-me-down gear necessarily, but I don't always want to be grabbing gear from the Sorceress and risking that on a character that's still progressing. Just kind of always being a little bit careful in that respect. Alright, and Hell Ancients. So, if you guys remember this fight on the Sorceress, it took quite a while. I'm just kind of cutting them around in a circle and trying not to die. The Assassin, yeah, is doing a ton more damage, so we didn't really care the Mercenary died. With the summons, they do a good enough job tanking, keeping mobs off you that you know, you don't need to rely on the Mercenary as bad, which is the other reason I really would prefer to do Diablo Clone on the Assassin and not the Sorceress, is because those summons are super helpful. Diablo's distracted for the entire fight, and in the Sorceress, I mean, he's coming ready. You've got no way to let anything else draw aggro. And in my head, I was like, that's a pretty significant difference for their toolkits, so I'm just going to go with the Assassin. Crushing everything though, so we're getting kind of excited here. Assassin's almost online. And then we'll think about bringing an Amazon up next. We have an Amazon torch, and we found quite a good amount of gear for the Amazon, including a lot of like two-handed javelins for the normal and nightmare progression, and then we'll probably switch to like a cold arrow or some sort of cold setup. I think the Amazon is likely to be the mapper, and she can do some good work, but I've never played Amazon on PD2, and if you guys have some suggestions for me on what you would say, you've seen the gear I have for, and you suggest I roll that for a mapper instead, I'll consider that. Or any like different builds for the Amazon, I'm looking for a little bit of some advice on that. Alright, but we made a 5-5-2 call to arms, so I mean that's very good. We don't need to re-roll that. We could probably keep that the entire season. And yeah, shout out to Fano. He convinced me to go roll that. I was trying to get a little cute, thinking what the Rune could go in instead, but Call to Arms is really, really good. Gives you and your mercenary battle orders and battle commands. You get +1 to skills, and you get somewhere in the order of like 200 or 300 health for both of you guys, so it's good. And then yeah, I had to test out the new gear as always, so running one more map. We've been liking the Pandemonium Sanctuaries, they don't feel too difficult. I do tend to run like the same map 2 to 4 times in a row. Just before it gets stale, it helps me remember the mob types, face the same type of encounters, and then that just kind of limits the things that could go wrong. Just saw that content, so there's less to like get surprised about. Alright, but that is concluding this episode. So thank you guys for coming. We've done 19 maps so far, and we've only had one map event, so not really sure what's going on there. But coming up next in the series, we're progressing along and trying to find the last couple pieces we need to take on Diablo Clone. So stick with us here. I have taken quite a few days off of playing the game actually to catch up on the videos. So we're almost there, and then this series is going to take a turn to be more live, where the video content is only either same day or one day behind of my actual gameplay. So I'm excited for that. I've been working hard, so catch you guys in the next one.